is going to testify. Please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, this is the first permanency hearing. Let's see. I wrote that Nora is with family in Coryell County with his dad in Florida. Mr. Stovall just got out of rehab, doing well. Mom's doing well. I have that everything's going pretty good in this case. So, Mr. Sturmer, you may begin, please.
Judge, I don't think we have any new recommendations at this time.
Okay. Mr. Dennis, what do y'all need?
Judge, I think we were going to ask to start phasing in some additional visitation this week. But I do understand that my client had a positive drug test earlier this month. So we may just be discussing that with the department here coming up in the next month.
Okay. Ms. Dennis, are y'all able to do like visits as agreed by y'all and department and Adams?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea, Judge.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Anything else, Mr. Dennis?
Not today, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. McClure, what's up?
We're good, Judge. I just sent you some photos that Dad forwarded to me of Lucas. I'll send them to Dory too. Sounds like he's having a good time. He's in soccer, doing a lot of fun things. They say he's doing well, adjusting well. Everything's going well.
Okay. Hold on, I got to look at pictures first. What is that?
I sent them too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you may got double. Yeah.
I survived. That's funny. What is he poking a stick at or looking for in Florida? I would be really scared. There's snakes there. Let's see.
He hasn't been eaten by anything yet, so far so good.
I mean, they're looking at something under a log. I would not do that. And look at cute.
Where's Dad? Is Dad on here? You could
he's here.
Tell us. Oh,
you need to unmute yourself, Will.
Lucas has a garden in his yard.
He's poking with a stick.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's went on a nature hike. We had a group that we found that they go out to the national forest and such. So the young lady he's with is actually a apprentice taxidermist. So she's showing him how to find remain sites, I guess, of like when critters leave bones and stuff like that behind. So he was very enthusiastic about some of that stuff.
Well, that he's a 12-year-old boy, so I get it. That's good. He's braver than I would be. Rocks and stuff or sticks, but hey, that's cool. So, Miss McClure, y'all are good.
Yes, we're good.
Miss Martinez, what do you need of all today?
Yes, ma'am. We're asking to increase his visits, and I've emailed Miss Austin about that. She said she thinks the department would be agreeable. She's running background checks on Mr. Stovall's living with their pseudo parents for him, have been very supportive for Mr. Stovall, also his employer. And so we're hoping that they can be approved as supervisors, and that because his sister's limited, she's a nurse, and so she's limited on when she can supervise. So we're hoping to do visits as agreed, supervised by Mr. or Mrs. Hitt at their home if possible.
Okay. Where do they live? Where Nora's playing. So everybody's closed. Okay, yes. Okay. Miss Walker, what do y'all need that's not in your report from CASA?
I think we were just looking at visit mother.
Okay.
Reconsideration of visits with mother.
Okay. Well, it sounds like y'all are going to visit and make a plan for Mom and Mr. Stovall also. That sounds like that's good. I mean, I'm happy with for visitation. Y'all know it. Y'all know everything. Y'all know the situations of placement and all that. So I'm happy with whatever y'all can work on. Okay. And I'm happy with whatever supervisor. I know the supervisor will have to be approved by the department, background, all that, but that's fine. Miss Mystic, what's up?
Yeah, Judge, as long as the supervisors are approved, I'm absolutely good with them supervising. You get more time and more quality of time other than department supervising. Not that they don't do a great job, but 1 hour is not enough.
Right.
Same with Mom. I understand what Mr. Dennis said, and probably by next month, we can probably increase that. I sent you the picture of both kids. I don't know if you saw the one of Nora.
Yes, she's so cute.
Sassy. Yeah, they're both
Yes,
doing great.
yeah.
They're trying to keep the kids staying in touch. They've had missed some calls. It's just with schedules and activities, but I just want to encourage both sides to keep working on that. I know she's young and keep her engaged on a Zoom or a FaceTime, but I still want them to just see each other.
I'm telling you, y'all are going to have a hard time with her in a couple of years, aren't y'all? I mean, that is the cutest.
Oh, you can't see. Oh, yours is better. Can you put it closer, Judge? Look how sassy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone. Kicking that leg up. It's hard to see. Too much light.
I mean, she got her pink tights on with her pink bow and her boots and her dress. She's like Go Texan, getting ready to go to the rodeo. She is cutest. And Lucas is a good-looking young man too. Well, y'all have precious kids. You know you have a service plan you got to comply with, or your parental rights be subject to termination. You know, we're halfway through, and you know we're kind of, sometimes we get some bumps right about this time, but we're getting over the bumps and humps and we're getting there. So I think that's okay. I'm gonna say visits from Mr. Stovall and Ms. Bishop as agreed by CPS and Mid-Items, and y'all get the supervisor approved. Our next hearing is our second permanency hearing. It is June 21st. Y'all, we're in limbo now on whether we're going to be in person or whether we're Zoom. I'm going to be in person most of the time. I'm letting the lawyers and cost everybody Zoom. Do y'all have any opposition to y'all continuing to Zoom, or does everybody want to come see me at the court?
I'm good with Zoom.
Zoom.
Costa's good with Zoom.
Okay. Miss Martinez, are you good with Zoom?
That's fine with me, Judge.
Okay. Okay. The
right. No cattle prod needed today, Judge.
Yeah, it's true. Good. Thank you. Miss Martinez, let me see. There's a motion and in an order on a motion to withdraw, but I don't know who it's from. You filed a motion for substitution, so you're good. I'm just
Judge, I believe Ms. Kabbalah previously represented Mr. Stovall.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Let me write. I'm just going to go. I'll sign it then. Okay. Well, I'm going to say I just have everything continue. Y'all work on the visits, and we'll see y'all on 6/23.
6/21.
6/21. Y'all got to check my math sometimes. Y'all have great kids, precious kids, and things are going well. Good luck. Please raise your hand.
Thank you.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, this is our second permanency hearing. I have that things are going well, that Bailey's with paternal grandma. Obviously, we have Mr. Allenson is a tribe. And here's some department recommends, or somebody recommends a monitored return. But I don't know if that's the plan. So, Mr. Shermer, you may begin.
Judge, we are recommending a monitored return at this time.
Okay. To Mom?
Both parents, I believe.
Are they together?
They're all in the house together, all with Grandma.
Right. Yeah, that's right. We kind of did a weird kind of thing. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Mr. Dennis, I guess you're good with that, huh?
I am good.
Okay. And Mr. Glass isn't here, but I think that Mom and Dad are aligned. Is that correct?
They are, Judge.
Okay. Casa, what do y'all think?
We are in agreement with the monitored return. I did want to recommend, as she's getting a little older, I think she needs some socialization. So I'd like that to be started at least once a week with some peers. So she starts getting used to having other children around.
Like what kind of socialization are you talking about?
Well, since grandmother is at the home, she doesn't need daycare, but some kind of either mom's day out, going to church church, childcare during service, a meetup group, whatever the family can find that's convenient to their area. I don't want to be too specific.
Okay. At 8 months old, starting swimming lessons is a good thing. Sometimes they do that baby rolling over gymnastic stuff. I know y'all think that's silly, but I'm telling you, with any kind of thing that we can get our kids involved in at a young age is great for just their physically and emotionally. Do y'all church? Do y'all have any outside activities or any groups y'all belong to, parents? Y'all are muted, which I appreciate, but y'all are muted. I can't hear you, man.
Not currently, but one of the things like that we were thinking about was like how Sarah Beatty had said looking for a church, or the library actually does a lot of children's activity.
Great idea. But y'all both work, right?
Correct, Monday through Friday, but on the weekends they have a lot of children activities at the library.
Okay, great. Yeah. And just getting out, going to a zoo or going to Toffee and going through the drive-through animal place, or, there's one in Evan, anything like that, just getting exposed. Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
that's good.
Still, we still do play dates with the foster family.
Oh, well, that's really good news. Really good news. Okay. So let me do this. Our new dismissal date will be 9/18. Technically, Bailey's placed with grandma who lives with y'all, right?
Yes.
Is she going to stay living in y'all's home?
She is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we're just going to kind of chill on the supervision. Yes, that's how we're changing this. Let me see. Ms. Sturmer, how are you with keeping we had trial on 6/21. How are you about keeping that as a permanency hearing and having a trial on 9/6? Or do you think we need to have another hearing in between?
No, I think that'll be fine.
Okay, so that's basically every 3 months. Okay, so our next court date is a permanency hearing. It's June 21st. Our final trial will be 9/6/23. Parents, you still have a service plan, even though we're working on monitor return, you still have a service plan. You still got to comply with your parental rights, or you still got to comply, or your parental rights can be subject to termination. With monitor return, CASA, Miss Mystic, CPS, they'll be on you. They'll be over there every week, probably checking on things, making sure everything goes well. Sometimes I will tell y'all, we get out early. So best thing I can say is do what CPS and CASA says. And maybe when we come in June, maybe we could say, bye, we're done. I don't know. I mean, every case is different. Okay. Sometimes we have to have 3 hearings in the 6-month period, but y'all have come a long way. Y'all are doing great. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody need anything else? Yay. Well, good news, best news for y'all. And I hope Bailey is happy this way, and y'all keep her involved. Thank you. This is our second permanency hearing. Thank you. We'll see y'all in June. I read the reports. I have that Wyatt is with the paternal grandparents in Coryell County, doing well. Mr. Davis is incarcerated, and I hope that mom hasn't done very much, if anything. So, Ms. Sturmer, what do you say?
The department isn't recommending anything. We are asking to move the trial up.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Gustafson, what do you need?
Well, I would have an objection to moving the trial up. I had a long conversation with my client yesterday about working her services. It's my understanding she's going to try to start doing that immediately. So I would object to that, but that's all, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Barnhill, Mr. Dennis, sorry.
Judge, I've got nothing today.
Okay. Mr. Sturmer, has Mr. Davis been served?
He's made an appearance.
Okay. Just checking. But he's incarcerated, correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay. Okay, let me look at something real quick. Let me look at calendars. Yeah. If I moved it up 45 days is May 6th. We're set for trial on 6/7.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. We understand.
I think we'll just leave it as is. And then Ms. Gustafson won't have any objection. Ms. Thibodeau, what do y'all need?
Wyatt's doing wonderful with Michelle and Brian, just growing like a little weed. He's like, you know, I put it all in my report. We've had very little to no contact with Riley. We're just wanting to move forward with the termination in agreement with CPS. She just hasn't really done anything. So that's just where CASA stands right now. But he's doing wonderful. He's doing great with Brian and Michelle.
Look at that picture. What a cute
guy. Adorable.
Yes. Oh my God, look at that one. What a
all the food.
Yes. Isn't that funny?
Yep.
That doesn't even look like the same kid from the prior picture.
I know.
Oh, look. Mr. Dennis, look at the dog. We like that one. So Wyatt's with paternal grandparents, right?
Yeah. They're getting licensed. They're working on licensing.
What do y'all think about mediation?
Don't know if anybody's going to show up, but we're going to spend a bunch of time scheduling it, and then they might not show up.
Right.
Okay. Well, I just didn't know if Ms. Gustafson's client, you know, since the child is with family, I didn't know. And let me throw another one out. If they're getting licensed, are we going to have to like extend this 6 months to give them time? You know, all that stuff I get confused with.
I'm assuming if we do termination, it'll be to the department. And then if the court grants it, then the department would have PMC, and then we could go through the procedures for them to be licensed and go through adoption, if that's where we are.
Okay.
I mean, Judge, we could always do, if Janet gets in touch with her client and has a conversation and Kyle does, we could always do an informal or send out documents if we get an agreement.
Right. Right. And our dismissal date isn't until July 10th. So we have a little bit of time, you know, after the trial.
Yes, ma'am.
If we need to work on that. Okay. Ms. Thibodeau, so you're good. Ms. Mystic, you need anything else?
No, Judge, I'm good.
Okay. Well, you know, cutest kid. Dennis, you need a bench warrant or an order to, you know, Mr. Stratton.
It really just depends on where he's at. I'll figure that out. And if I need something, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. I think that they would be consistent, and I guess you do criminal stuff, but man, I have units all over the board. I don't get it.
TDCJ is consistent, but everybody else wants different things, but we'll figure it out.
Okay. Well, just let me know in advance. Okay. Well, I'm going to say everything continue. Are y'all okay with Zoom?
Yes.
Probably best considering the circumstances of the client, especially Mr. Davis. Okay, well, everything continues. Final trial is 6/7. Thank y'all. Okay, thank you. Okay, this is our first permanency hearing. I read that Lori is in, and the other kiddos are, I did not get a CPS report, so I don't really know very much. So that's the best I can do today. So, Mr. Sturmer, you probably need to tell me some information or what y'all need today, please. And hold on. Don't know, is Mom here? Yeah, there she is. Okay, I'm sorry. I missed you on the screen. I apologize. And there's Mr. Gallagher. Okay, good. Mr. Sturmer, you may begin.
Raven Cheney the new caseworker? Judge, I'd like to call Miss Cheney.
Okay, please. Thank you.
You're the new caseworker that took over for Mr. Joseph. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
As the judge stated, Lori's an RTC, Troy and Grace are in a shelter, and that placement recently changed due to some issues with the prior placement. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you give the judge a little bit of background on what happened there?
Yes. When I took over the case, Al had informed me that Grace had made outcries of being treated unfairly, that she wasn't eating the same amounts of food, that she wasn't being allowed to go outside and play like her brother was, and that just overall she didn't feel that she was being treated fairly in the home, and we were concerned about her eating patterns. So we decided that it was best to just move them to Option House until their ICPC is complete.
And
or
not
another
only
placement becomes available.
not only did Grace tell you that, but Troy also expressed the concerns as well. Is that correct?
Yes, Troy did corroborate a little bit. He does tend to get a little bit more upset when asked about his sister's treatment, so he doesn't say exactly, but he was very concerned for Grace, and he stated that he wanted to stay at Option House.
Okay. Get into the service plan real quick. For the mother, looks like she completed an OSAR, but then she tested positive for methamphetamine, so now the department's requesting a new OSAR. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That was completed on 3/8. So
Okay.
now we just have to initiate services.
Mother has missed quite a few drug tests, and she's had a couple positive for methamphetamines. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Has she completed her psychological evaluation?
No, sir. A new 2054 has to be submitted.
Okay. Did she complete her psychiatric evaluation?
No, sir.
You believe the report says that she did complete a psychiatric in November. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. If that's what's in the report from Al, I know she has not completed her psychological.
Okay. When was the last time Mother had a visit?
Mother has not had a visit since, I believe, December.
Okay. And that's due to not testing or being positive?
Yes, sir.
And then as for therapy, looks like she started therapy but stopped going or something along those lines?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you talked to her about re-engaging in therapy?
Yes, sir. I met with her yesterday, and I'll be reinitiating all of her services this afternoon.
Okay. And then what about family therapy? It looks like they attempted that. Are they still in family therapy?
They were in family therapy until last week. They were discharged by their therapist, so I'll be getting them into a new family therapist.
Okay. As for the father, he completed his OSAR, negative on his drug tests, having visits, and they're going pretty well. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Everything with the father is going really well.
The report notes a couple of issues with father bringing up inappropriate topics during visits. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
And have y'all talked to him about that to make sure he's only talking about appropriate things?
Yes, I addressed it with him as well as his therapist. And in the past 2 or 3 weeks, he's done really well at coming to one of us first to discuss the matter before taking it to Lori, or he's called Lori's therapist and had her discuss it with her.
And then, as you stated, as far as the rest of his service plan, he's engaging in services. We don't need to go through each and every one of them. Does the department have any new recommendations at this time?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions, Ms. Chang? Hold on, Ms. Cummings. Hold on, Ms. Cummings. Let me see if the parents' lawyers do.
I have a question.
Ms.
Ms. Cheney, in the report, it says that Mr. Gallagher has not completed his psychological, but he has done his psychiatric. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. He has a psychological. I'm sorry, I was not the one to fill out this court report. But he has a psychological and his psychiatric on completion from what I've seen.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Next, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Cheney, I just wanted to clarify a few things. I did receive a report. I just don't know if it was accepted by e-file judge, and that may be why you didn't get it. Do you know the current status of the ICPCs that are pending for these kids?
So the ICPC that is on their maternal grandparents, it has not been processed by the state. The children have stated that they would not like to live with the grandparents, but the ICPC still is in process. The ICPC for Miss Mertz and Mr. Mertz is in Oklahoma. They've been contacted by the county, and we're just waiting for home studies.
Both Troy and Grace are currently in therapy as well, correct?
I'm sorry?
Troy and Grace are both in therapy?
Yes, ma'am. They're seeing their therapist bi-weekly together.
Do you have the status on any counseling notes that were requested by myself about a little bit over a month ago?
No, ma'am. I have not heard anything from their therapist about your request for notes.
Well, I requested them through you and Mr. Al Andre.
She has not stated anything to me, but I will follow up with that.
And then whenever the kids were moved from the previous placement, the date that you have as the placement in the court report was February 24th. Is that, to your knowledge, was that the correct date that they were moved?
I cannot state off the top of my head exactly what day they were moved.
Okay,
if the 24th is what's on there, then I would assume that that is correct, but I was not the caseworker that moved them.
But you were still involved in the case, correct?
And not with the removal of the children from the previous placement.
And in the records or the notes for that Al had put in for the removal from the prior placement, is all that it stated was that there was unfavorable treatment?
That is what Al had put in the notes, yes, ma'am. After speaking with the children, they were able to give me a little bit more information on exactly what was going on in the home.
So there was nothing in the notes about the placement needing respite care because one of them was going under surgery to have surgery and would be out for a week?
From what I was told, no, ma'am.
And do you know if any of this information was ever relayed to CASA or myself?
No, ma'am.
In the report, I will note that, and I'm hoping that it gets corrected, Lori has had 2 additional mental health hospitalizations that are not listed. Are you aware of that?
No, ma'am.
And to your knowledge, how is Lori doing at her current placement?
As of yesterday, Lori has stated that she does not feel comfortable in the home, and we're working on addressing that in therapy and trying to push the ICPC as fast as possible.
So in the report, it's saying that Lori's bonding and getting along with everybody else. That's not correct.
Not as of yesterday, no, ma'am.
Okay. And it would be true that she's been threatened by other girls in that facility, correct?
She has not stated that to me. She just told me that staff was not treating her fairly. And then yesterday there was an altercation in the home that made her feel uncomfortable.
Do you know the status of the sexual assault that happened with Grace at her school?
Yes, I spoke with Grace. They changed his schedule. She has a no contact order, and they are no longer anywhere in proximity. I asked her if she felt safe at school, and she stated that she felt fine and that everything was taken care of. And I know that an intake was called to be investigated.
And is there a reason that the department hasn't relayed any of this information to myself or the guardian ad litem?
No, ma'am.
And the mother has not had any in-person visits, correct?
No, ma'am.
But she is still having phone calls with at least Lori, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in regards to Mr. Gallagher, can you tell me what exactly about his phone calls and what had happened that was considered inappropriate by the therapist or yourself?
Yes, ma'am. So Lori had stated that Mr. Gallagher had made comments about current marital issues, drug use, and things of that nature, and it made her very uncomfortable. So I spoke with her therapist, and her therapist recommended that there be no in-person visitation at this time.
According to the report, you guys are actually going to be starting back to in-person visitation.
We will be starting back to in-person visitation as soon as his therapist and Lori's therapist state that they feel it is safe for Mr. Gallagher to have in-person visitation.
Talk with Lori at all about not asking her dad about how mom's doing to kind of help alleviate those awkward conversations?
I'm sorry?
I said, have you had any conversations with Lori about her not asking dad about mom? So that way it doesn't put Mr. Gallagher in that awkward position of not knowing what to say or saying the wrong thing.
Yes, ma'am. I discussed with her therapist to have Lori speak with her therapist about boundaries, just because Lori and I's relationship is just starting, and she does not feel really comfortable with talking with me about everything yet. And her therapist sees her on a regular basis. So her therapist was discussing with her why we have to withhold certain information and why she can't ask these questions.
And is there a reason why you didn't relay any of this information to CASA or myself so that way we could talk with Lori about it?
No, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Thank you. Ms. Wheeler, you came in just a second ago. Do you have any questions?
Judge, I'm looking, double checking through my emails to make sure I didn't miss something. I don't have a report for this case. Okay. I was listening and I thought, did I miss something? But I thought, so I double checked. And so, I'm curious if there's been any contact with mom, my client.
Yes, ma'am. I spoke with mom yesterday.
Okay. Does she have a new phone number or something?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. Do you know where she is?
She's in court right now.
She's here.
I don't mean here, but I mean globally, you know where she is and what she's doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And since I don't have a report to read, how are the, you said she's having in-person visits with Lori. How are those going?
She's having phone call visits with Lori.
I'm sorry, I meant phone call.
From what I've heard, the phone call visitation is going well.
Okay. And are we waiting on therapist recommendations for everybody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Is mom being included in family therapy?
They were discharged from family therapy.
Okay. And when did the caseworker changeover happen?
The caseworker change happened at the end of last month, the 25th or something, I believe. Okay. It was an abrupt switch.
Sure, but we are going on right at a month now. And is there a reason why nobody communicated that information to any of us lawyers?
I sent out an email to the lawyers that I had listed for the case.
If you want to look at your notes real quick, do you guys still have Melissa McClure listed as the attorney of record in this case?
Yes, it does have Ms. McClure listed.
Okay. Do you guys actually look at the documents that the judge signs when she appoints lawyers?
When they are passed to me, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I've been on this case since the beginning, and Ms. McClure stood in for me once, and somehow I'm magically out of the loop and off the case. So can you have your admin update your system so that I actually get informed about what's happening with my client?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything that my client has expressed to you that she needs assistance with?
Yes, ma'am. We spoke yesterday about getting her into all of her services, and after court today, I will be going through and reinstating all of her services that were dropped in the past few weeks.
Why were those services dropped?
Her individual therapist was discharged because she wasn't attending sessions. Marriage therapy or couples therapy was discharged because she hadn't attended 4 sessions. And her termination for her 2054 on her psychological was discharged because she did not schedule an appointment.
So these 2054s do have expiration dates?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you send her all of that information, would you be so kind as to send that to me in an email as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No further questions, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Your Honor, I just have one follow-up with
Yes,
Raven.
ma'am.
Raven, you'd said that the change in caseworker was an abrupt switch. Is
Yes,
that correct? But in February, whenever the kids were moved, the email to us notifying of the move, you were included in that email.
Yes, I was included in the email stating that the kids were going to Option House. I was told by Al that the move would be permanent until we found further care, though.
Correct, but you were already aware at that time that you were going to be taking over this case.
Yes, ma'am. I wasn't supposed to take over for a few more days before I got the case, though. That's what I meant by abrupt.
I'll pass the witness.
Pat, you passed the witness, right? Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Ms. Shermer, next witness, please.
No other witnesses, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Wheeler, any witnesses?
Judge, I haven't had a chance to confer with my client, but I would like to call her briefly to just answer the questions I have.
Okay, thank you.
Chelsea, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Chelsea, did you hear what the caseworker said about getting all of your services reactivated?
Yes.
Awesome. And is it your intention to jump into those with full force?
Yes.
Perfect. Are you aware that if you have any problems getting into your services, you can not only reach out to the caseworker, but you can also call me to help get things moving, right?
Yes.
Excellent. No further questions, Judge.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions of Ms. Chelsea? Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McQuaid, did you attempt to go to inpatient treatment?
Yeah, I did.
And where did you go?
Windmill Wellness.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Windmill Wellness.
Okay. And how long were you there for?
Not very long.
A day, 2 days, a week? How long?
Close to a week, I think. I don't know, 4 days, something like that.
Do you believe that you need inpatient treatment to help with your methamphetamine addiction?
No, I do not. And the part that's being left out is my tests were positive, but they were extremely low. And she's supposed to be reaching out to a specialist to see if that can be proven that is from exposure and not from use. So.
Ma'am, are you aware that the levels don't really mean anything? A positive is a positive.
Okay.
And I mean, so who are you hanging out with that's using meth around you?
I needed a ride to get the drug test.
So you're riding in a vehicle where they're using meth to go take a drug test?
Yeah. Yes. I was trying to get there.
Okay. Is there a reason that you have missed, I don't know, the last several weeks worth of drug testing?
I have not missed the last several weeks. I've been there. The 2 that I did miss recently were both, one was because we were in the hospital. The other one was because we were involved in a hit and run, and they have all the paperwork to prove that.
Who is they that has the paperwork to prove that?
Yeah. Miss Raven.
Okay, so from January through February, or January and February, when you weren't testing, why were you not testing?
I honestly did not realize the gravity of testing, and I did not prioritize it.
You do understand by not prioritizing your drug testing, you're not prioritizing being able to have in-person visits with your children.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, that's why I'm making it to them.
Pass the witness.
Anybody else? Thank you. Ms. Gustafson, any witnesses?
No witnesses today, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. First, anything you would like to add for CASA in addition to your report?
I was speaking with Lori last night, and she is getting increasingly concerned about Hope Haven and some of the dynamics with the other females that are living there. They did tell me that they were going to look at putting her back into a private room to decrease some of that tension. But otherwise, everything in the report is still the same.
Is there any way that we could get these kids together?
Your Honor, I think it's the purpose of the ICPC in Oklahoma, because they would all be able to go there together.
Okay.
And I don't know if any efforts have been made to find a placement locally that could facilitate all three of them.
Okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions of CASA? No. Okay, Ms. Cummings, you said that. What else would you like to add? I see your frustration. Lots of frustration, mainly communication, lack of, it's really just communication with the department, not being informed of things that are happening until after it's passed. I wasn't even aware of the ICPC being done until I went and saw the kids, and they were the ones that were telling me about it. So the communication that's not there, I would really like to have updated information on the parents, their drug testing services that they are and are not completing, because it's just tidbits here and there that Carrie and I pick up from either the kids, or I think Kenneth has provided some information to Carrie, but there's almost no communication from CPS.
And Judge, I would second that as well. I would very much appreciate updates on my clients and their drug test results, and if they do or don't show up.
Okay. Well, and Ms. Cummings, we shouldn't be hearing this stuff from our kids, that's violation of, Children's Bill of Rights right there. So, Ms. Burrell, I know we had a sudden change over there, and I'm not faulting anybody, but I know that y'all will work on this, correct?
Yes, we will.
Okay. And y'all know, lawyers, y'all know what I'm talking about. So, sadly so. And Ms. Burrell, make sure that I'm, and I guess Ms. Wheeler too, obviously make sure that I'm included on all e-filing so I get the reports also. I know some were filed late, but there is a court order that says they have to be filed so many days out in advance. So cost reports also, but I didn't get the cost report. Wow. Well, I know I'm going to say placement is agreed by CPS and advised. So I'm going to also say ICPC circulated to all upon receipt. I don't really, Mom understands the seriousness. She's on it. Mr. Gallagher is already on it. Kids, kind of here, there, and yawn. I'm not, hopefully the grandparents will work out. I don't really know what other orders we need today. Ms. Shermer, can you think of any other orders?
I don't need any other orders, Judge.
Okay,
Ms. I will say that, I understand the frustration with the lack of communication, but we will definitely get working on that and make sure everybody's informed.
Okay. Y'all know Coriel is my opinion, is a good, we have good working relationship with the folks from the department here. And we just got up, like I said, we had a little oops this past month for multiple reasons. So Ms. Wheeler, you need any orders today?
Not that I don't think so, Judge, as long as visitation can be increased for CPS and ad litems based off of Mom's success in moving through her services. I can't recall off the top of my head if that was previously ordered that way or not.
Okay.
But I want her to be able to regain as much of her visitation as possible, as quickly as possible when she, really jumps on this.
Okay. Well, that's an order now if it hadn't already been. Ms. Gustafson, any orders you need today?
I don't need any that I know of, but I noticed that Mr. Gallagher is raising his hand. And so I don't know if there's something that has come up that he feels needs to be addressed.
Okay, Mr. Gallagher, be careful what you say, but you can unmute yourself. What would you like?
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, everybody. I spoke yesterday evening following her conversation with Ms. Cummings, and she left me with the impression that she was putting on a brave face, but very upset. I followed that conversation up with Lori this morning with a message to Lori's therapist and my therapist, voicing my concern about the topics that Ms. Cummings is speaking with Lori about. And I followed that up again with another phone call to Raven Cheney this morning to let her know what was happening. Also to a call to Hope Haven to speak with the staff to see how Lori's night was. Lori did in fact have a bad night last night. I'm under the impression it's directly because of that conversation with Ms. Cummings, and I would like that to be addressed with the court, please. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Gallagher, tell me exactly what you're doing just again, so we can get it on the record again. Okay.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, you cut out there for a second.
Tell me the conversation you're referring to again, so we can get it on the record again.
The conversation with Lori was she had specifically asked me about mom's drugs tests and about a comment that I to the family therapist during one of our sessions with Chelsea. Again, that when I asked Lori if she was okay, she did state she was okay. However, she left me with the impression that she was not okay. And I felt like I needed to follow that up further with some conversations to therapists and bring Raven into the loop on that.
Okay. What did Ms. Cummings, in your opinion, say, Mr. Gallagher, that you're unhappy with?
Your Honor, I've learned to not address touchy subjects with Lori based on her mental state outside of her therapist's purview. I think that needs to be extended to all parties.
Okay. Well, the attorney ad litem and guardian ad litem, they have to kind of just hit it straight up with the children. Y'all ad litems and department, y'all be sure and confer with the kids' therapist and kind of see where they're, and like Mr. Gallagher said, we're dealing with basically teenagers, and we know how crazy that is in a perfect world. And if somebody's one of the kiddos is having a bad day, maybe we just talk to them the next day or something. Miss Gustafson, why don't you and Miss Cummings and Mr. Gallagher and Casa get together and y'all have a visit off camera and kind of make a plan and see if y'all can mesh and we can work this situation out, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Because
I think that everybody is trying to, it sounds to me like, this is a really complicated case in my opinion. But everybody's trying to get the kids the help they need and get them where they need to be and, get mom to test and do what she needs to do too. So it sounds like, this is kind of silly but it sounds like there's just a lot of hand holding and kumbaya and working together that we really need to do in this case more than a regular case. So if and especially dealing with 3 teenagers, my gosh, that's, like I said, that's crazy. Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. I appreciate you drawing that to attention, and I'm sure Ms. Cummings will call Ms. Gustafson, or Ms. Gustafson, you call her and y'all visit, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I like your dog in the back seat too. That's cute. That's fun. Dogs like going bye-bye. Okay. So what I'm going to order today is placements agreed by CPS and items. ICPC circulated to all upon receipt. Visits for the parents as agreed by CPS and the ad litems. Our next permanency hearing is 6/7/23. Parents, y'all know your service plan. Y'all are working on it. You got to your parental rights can be subject to termination. Lawyers in CASA, do y'all agree about all future hearings to be by Zoom?
Yes.
Miss Wheeler, I know you. I know. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, we got any ETA on the ICPC?
As of right now, the ICPC made it to Oklahoma last week, and the district worker had reached out to the family.
So we're waiting for them to go out. Well, that's a good sign. That's a real good sign. Okay. Well, good luck to y'all, and y'all have your visit, and I'll see y'all in June. Okay. Good luck to kiddos too. they need to talk to me. Y'all know how to get a hold of me, and we can do Zoom or whatever we need to do. Okay. This is our first
Thank y'all.
hearing. We'll be in read Ms. Chambers' report. The children at foster home in Killeen. We've done an there's ICPC on grandma's alert is out there. I didn't get a CPS report, so we'll just start with Mr. Sturmer. What do you need today, Mr. Sturmer?
Judge, you're on the e-filing.
Did it come in late?
It was on March 20th.
That was Sunday. Or that was Monday.
Right.
They're due a week at least before. I've got court all week. I don't look at reports on e-file. I look at them, we print them out the week before. So that's the way it goes.
We don't need anything today, Judge.
Okay. Let me look at the pictures real quick. Wow. Oh. You don't need anything? Miss San Miguel, what do y'all need?
No request.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Glass, how are you?
We're doing well, Judge. Looking at this, we've got a goal. I know you didn't get the report. We have a goal of family reunification. We'd like to move forward with as much visitation and possession of these children as we can have.
Okay. What are we doing visitation? Sorry. What are we doing visitation?
Well, it's weird. You're coughing and Ms. Mystic's blowing her nose. That's really bizarre. I believe right now we're still supervised.
Okay.
Miss Mystic is shaking her head.
Okay. Well, hold that thought. Let me write it down and we'll get back to you on that, Mr. Glass.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Anything else you need?
Nope.
Okay. Ms. Chambers, good report, lots of good info. What do you need today that wasn't in your report? Can't imagine anything wasn't in your report, but it was good.
The children are doing well in placement. They're doing well in school. Had a little bit of health hiccups back at the beginning of the year, but they're doing well health-wise also.
Yeah, lots of surgery and teeth and things that you mentioned in there. Okay, Miss Mystic, what do you need?
I'm good, Judge. I must have coughed or something and he saw my head shake. Sorry.
What are we doing about visitation right now? Everybody.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, everybody can, whoever wants to answer.
Yeah.
Right now, we are paused on visitation because there is an investigation ongoing. The CAC for the children was scheduled for the 28th. So once everything is taken care of, we will go back to our 1 hour of scheduled visitation as long as the parents are cleared from that investigation.
Okay.
So there was some concerns during therapeutic sessions. The kids really, once they started therapy, there was some things in the foster home, some acting out. And then once the visits stopped, that's kind of stopped. But I think they're just waiting to get this investigation cleared up. I think we were asking for a CAC. I don't know if we can do a CAC if there's there's some guidelines for CACs. I thought it was if there's a criminal investigation. I don't remember, but I know that's one thing that we were requesting is the boys be CAC. But as far as how they're doing in the home, they're doing great. We just need to get this cleared up and see what's going on and then start the visits back, depending on what the outcome is.
Parents working their service plan, everything, Ms. Cheney, everything's going well from their side?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, then I'm just going to say parents visits increase per CPS and Adams. I mean, they could, I would start increasing them to 1.5 hours, 2 hours, whatever. But let's, like you said, let's get over this hump next week and see where we're at. Okay. Did the fosters send all those cute pictures, Miss Mystic?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and she's been one of our foster parents several times, and yeah.
Y'all, I don't think y'all can see it. See the head poking out of the dinosaur? I got a better one. I'm just going to say everything continued. Parents' visits increased per CPS and Adlatums. Okay. Lawyers, Costa, do y'all agree to the hearings can be held via Zoom? Okay.
Yes.
Mr. and Ms. Little, our next hearing is June 7th. It's our second permanency hearing. I tell everybody at every hearing, you have to comply with your service plan or your parental rights will be subject to termination, okay?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, y'all understand. I know y'all understand. Y'all are working your service plan and everything's going well. Okay, well, good luck to y'all, and I hope this investigation works out okay. And y'all got really cute kids. They look like a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I'm glad they got their health problems good and ready to have warm weather. She is 2 years old. Okay, thank y'all for being restoring Mystic as attorney ad litem and guardian ad litem. The department is here represented by Mr. Chuck Sturmer with Miss Shandell Simmons and Miss Letitia Burrell. The mom, April Bryant, is not here. I believe y'all have a Rule 11 agreement as to the mom that y'all entered into yesterday or very recently. Her attorney is Mr. Kyle Dennis. Mr. Richard Runyon lives in Ohio. He's not here. His attorney is Miss Michelle Cummings, and she is here. Mr. Sturmer, do you have that Mr. Runyon was served, or has he made an appearance?
Judge, he was served by substituted service. And I can give you that exact date. Give me just a second. He was served by publication on June 15th, 2022.
Okay. Mr. Sturmer, you may begin, please.
Judge, I'd first like to offer the department's final report.
Any objection?
No objection.
Petitioner's one's admitted.
And Judge, as we stated, the mother did sign a relinquishment yesterday, I believe. And so I would also like to offer that relinquishment as petitioners too.
Any objection?
No objection.
Petitioner's two is admitted.
Judge, we do have this Rule 11 agreement between the mother, the department, and the foster parent. Did you want me to just read that Rule 11 agreement into the record? It's a Rule 11 post termination agreement.
Yes, it's real. I saw it. It's short. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So number one states that April Bryant will execute an affidavit of voluntary relinquishment of her parental rights. She already did that. Number two, April Bryant will have post-termination contact with the child. Pictures will be sent once a week, minimum. Text as to medical and school updates as needed. FaceTime calls every other Thursday. And beginning April 1st, it'll be every other Saturday. Visits with the child as agreed by the foster parent and mother. Any other individuals may attend visits as agreed by foster mother. No child support from mother. And then there's some drug testing provisions for the foster parent to request of mother.
Okay. And Mr. was the foster mom included in on those negotiations?
She was.
Okay. That sounds good. So that's just as to the mother, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you said that the mom did, Mr. Dennis's client did execute her voluntary affidavit of relinquishment, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, Mr. Sturmer, I'll approve the Rule 11 agreement and you may begin as regarding Mr. Richard Runyon.
Okay. I'd like to call Shandell Simmons, please, the caseworker for the department. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you've heard what I previously stated about the mother signing a relinquishment. Are you asking today that the court terminate her parental rights based on that relinquishment solely?
Yes.
And you're also informed about this post-termination agreement, and you believe that to be in the child's best interest as well?
Yes.
Okay. As for the father, have you had any contact with him since you've been the caseworker?
At the very beginning, little contact, but I want to say in the last, 11 months, no contact at all.
Okay. And from your review of the department's file, is it your understanding that the mother and Mr. Runyon, the father, were together whenever CPS first got involved?
Yes.
And do you recall the reason why the department first got involved?
Yes.
And what was that?
And Miss Bryan and Mr. Runyon were having an argument, and Mr. Runyon grabbed a pocket knife. And Mr. Runyon, he admitted to using methamphetamines the night before, and he was taken to the hospital for self-harm and behavior ideation.
Okay, and all of this was happening in September of 2021, is that correct?
Correct.
And shortly after that, is it your understanding that he moved back to Ohio, I believe?
Yes.
Okay, and then following the time that he was in Ohio, did you have, or that he moved back to Ohio, did you have any contact with him at that point?
Yes, I had a, through the phone, I had a conversation with him, and his stance was that if he was not going to get Layla back, it wasn't a guarantee he was not doing any services.
And you did talk to him about his service plan, though, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And you informed him that if he completed his narrowly tailored service plan to address his issues, that he could potentially have a relationship with his daughter in the future, correct?
Correct.
But to this day, as we stand today, he has not worked any services for the department?
No, he has not.
Has he had any visits with the child since he moved back to Ohio in the fall of 2021?
No, he has not.
Has he provided any support for the child?
No, he has not.
Okay. Do you believe that he has any intention to be a part of this child's life?
No, I do not.
And so today, are you also asking that his parental rights be terminated as to the child?
Yes, I am.
And are you requesting that based on his failure to comply with the service plan?
Yes.
And you're also asking that based on his constructive abandonment of the child that's been in the care of the department for the last year and a half?
Yes.
Okay. And you believe termination of each of the parents' rights at this time to be in the child's best interest?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Anybody have any questions, Ms. Simmons?
Your Honor, just one, maybe two.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Cummings.
Ms. Simmons, since Mr. Runyon relocated to Ohio and you've had that one phone call, what other attempts have you made to try to engage him in services?
I have been emailing Mr. Runyon throughout the duration of the case, and I have not received any responses back from him.
Have you tried calling him at all?
I don't have his updated number. The number that we have on file for him is not in service.
And are you aware of any family members that you could reach out to get in contact with him?
No, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anybody else? No. Okay, thank you. Next witness, Mr. Steimer.
I don't have any other witnesses, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Dennis, anything?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Cummings?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Mystic, anything?
I don't have any witnesses.
I know I watch the YouTuber people, and they say, Judge, take cough drops, take Mucinex. I'm like, nothing works. I've tried.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah. I don't pay attention to much, but I think that's funny.
Right.
Ms. Mystic, talk to me and put a little bit on the record about best interest for Layla, please. When you can.
So, Judge, I've been on this since October of 21, and this child is in a forever home. One of the things that I believe is most important in this case, and I'll just talk about the termination for mom, which I do believe to be in the best interest, is the fact that we have a foster parent that is going to maintain the relationship of the child with the mother, biological mother. And we know that's going to happen because sometimes we have foster parents that say, oh, I'm going to do this. Well, she's adopted another child and still has a relationship and does play dates and things like that with the parents of that child. And is going to be adopting, I think, some others and still maintains relationships with those family members. So that's part of the reason we had this conference yesterday that, and everybody worked really, really hard at that, because these two were able to talk and work this out, which is always best when the mother and the foster parent can have a hand in what we're doing. So that's one of the reasons I believe this to be in the best interest. I know mom worked really hard this year and a half. We're out of time, but it's also, she'll still have that relationship. I believe that if the father had worked services and done what he needed to do, he would have been able to maintain and have a relationship with his child. But that's, you know, when you look at the Holly v. Adams best interest, that to me is one of the most important, because a child is going to grow up and know they're adopted and have that. You know, even though I know this child's going to have a wonderful life, there's always going to be that, my parents, who are my biological. And we already know that's already going to be there, at least for mom. I imagine, even with knowing Jackie, that if dad got it together and called her, she'd probably do the same if she thought that was best for Layla. So I can't recommend enough, obviously, for termination. I know that sounds bad, like recommend enough, but in this case, it's not as sad, because we know April still, and even her paramour is going to be able to attend the visits, and they're going to do play dates with all the kids, and they get along really well. So,
and this was the case that the mom and foster mom were always working together. And
recent, I mean, I've seen the last couple months that they connect, you know, like got the numbers and connected. And that's partly why yesterday we all felt like if they could talk, and they did. Kyle was very good in being the lawyer for his client. And I felt like that they worked it out really well. We let them basically talk it through and get this agreement.
Good. Okay. Great. Okay, anything anybody else would like to add?
Judge, I just forgot to say that the department's asking to be named the permanent managing conservator at this time. Sorry about that.
That's what I was going to ask. I'm going to approve the Rule 11 agreement and all the terms in it. I don't need to reiterate. And to find by clear and convincing evidence that termination of Miss April Bryant's parental rights as to Layla is in Layla's best interest, based solely under mom's voluntary affidavit relinquishment. Therefore, Miss April Bryant's parental rights are terminated. I'm further going to find by clear and convincing evidence that termination of Mr. Richard Runyon's parental rights is also in Layla's best interest under Texas Family Code Section 161.001 B1 N and O grounds. Basically, the lack of cooperation grounds. Therefore, termination as to Mr. Richard Runyon as to Layla is also granted. We named the department as Layla's permanent managing conservator, and she stays with Miss Jackie. Mr. Dennis, Miss Cummings, thank you for y'all's work on this case. Y'all are, Mr. Dennis, especially at the end, working on that good Rule 11 agreement for your client. Miss Cummings, thank you. It's hard to work when you have a client that's not around, but you seem to have that some lately. But thank you, y'all are released. I'm going to set the first perm after hearing for 6/7/23. And do y'all agree those can be via Zoom, Ms. Mystic and Mr. Sturmer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Please raise your hand. Okay. Do you swear affirm the testimony you give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Mr. Lee, is Ms. Demetra not going to come today? She unable to be here?
She's in the waiting room, Your Honor. I saw her on here earlier.
See her. I read reports. Heaven is in Richmond, Texas. I didn't get a CPS report. So, just kind of some stuff going on. So, Mr. Sturmer, I'm going to let you begin, please.
Judge, I don't think we're really asking for anything new today. We got to clear up the issue with the unknown father, but I believe that you appointed Courtney Wheeler to represent him at the last hearing. It's kind of just a strange case. Mother's deceased. Grandma had custody. I guess we need to I need to try to figure out where that court was to set up a UCCJEA conference. That's kind of just where I'm at right now.
Okay. Grandma had legal custody, correct?
That's my understanding.
And do we know if there was any dad list? Miss Fuller, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Thank you. Have you heard from Leon?
Yes, Your Honor. He called me about a couple of weeks ago. He's doing really well. He's going to the public school, and looks like he's going to be having a car to drive to get a job.
Right. We went over all our dual status cases with Dr. Simmons Horton last week, and we were talking about how that was a good dual status case and how we all worked together with the juvenile people and how it was a real success. But anyway, I divert. Sorry.
That's okay.
So does anybody know, Ms. Cuevas, you might know, was there anything about any father listed in that prior court order?
Sorry, Judge, I actually did find the prior order. For some reason I thought I was still waiting on it. Let me look through it real quick.
Ms. Cuevas, you can unmute yourself. You know anything about a father in the prior court order? You're muted, ma'am. I can't hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, there was a father listed, but DNA was done and he's not the father.
Okay. So you were able to get a custody order without naming anybody as the father, correct?
Correct.
That's weird, but okay, whatever.
Well,
go on.
Sorry, Your Honor. No, he was listed as the father.
But he got ruled out, correct?
Right.
Okay.
That was after the judge gave custody.
Oh, what kind of, that's kind of complicated. How did y'all get him ruled out later on?
We really didn't. I mean, I kept trying through Attorney General.
So he's going to be like a presumed or some kind of father on the papers.
But in DNA results, he was 100% not her father.
Okay. How did y'all do how did you get him to do the DNA? Was it just a private deal or what?
Attorney General. It was through the Attorney General.
And what state, ma'am?
South Carolina.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
And I have tried for a couple of years to find who the father was, and no luck.
Right.
Who are you saying the father was that was ruled out through DNA?
His name was Justin Smalls.
Does anybody else have the final court order other than Mr. Sturmer? No? Okay. Mr. Sturmer, if you'll send that to Miss Mystic and Miss Wheeler, she'll need it for the unknown father, plus her client might change. I don't really know. Good question.
Your Honor, my daughter didn't know who the father was.
Okay. Yeah, but if we have a prior order, we have to kind of work with that. So
right.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Judge, this guy, Justin Smalls, is listed in this order.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when you look at another state's order, they just do things so different. So
right.
Trying to figure out where they put everything, but they don't even mention, he's listed as he's listed in the style of the case, but I don't even see his name brought up a single time in the order.
Wow. Is it South Carolina, Mr. Sturmer?
Yes. Only thing it says as to Justin Smalls is that he is not properly served and is not present or represented by an attorney. There's literally nothing else.
Ms. Cuevas, where did we get the name Justin Smalls?
That was someone she was seeing. And so she must have, I don't know, told CPS that was the father in South Carolina.
Nobody's listed on Heaven's birth certificate as her father?
No, ma'am.
And department, do y'all have a copy of Heaven's birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am. I have her birth certificate and it says husband information denied. And from all the information I gathered, her and her husband had been separated for almost a decade before she gave birth to Heaven. They just never divorced.
But, then there's a presumed father. This is getting deep.
Oh, boy.
Ms. Cuevas, who was Heaven? Who was the Heaven's mother's husband?
Give me a moment.
Okay.
Danny Bethay. But they were separated.
I know. But you know what? If you're married to somebody, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Don't you think that would have been addressed in the courts, though, when they got that order? Or maybe a different, in their divorce, maybe it shows he's not. I mean,
did they ever get divorced?
Never divorced. They were married when she passed.
Oh.
Yes, she never.
Were they married when Heaven was born?
Yes.
Yeah, because they were married when the mom passed.
Yes. She never got a divorce. I'm sorry.
So she was with this Bethay guy, married to him.
Right.
And then she had Heaven. And then y'all went to court in South Carolina and she named this Smalls guy as the alleged father, correct?
Yes.
But she didn't really think he was the father.
Oh, he's not. She's not. Because he's white and Heaven is mixed.
Well, that's good. that helps. What about Mr. Bethay? Is he white or is he African American?
He's white.
Okay. When did was the mom your daughter, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sorry to ask you this, but when did she pass?
2019, I think. Ugh.
Did Mr. Bethay show his head or get any benefits or anything when she passed?
No.
Okay. And prior to that time, you had already obtained custody of Heaven?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'd had custody already for like 3 or 4 years.
And y'all lived in South Carolina. Did you live in South Carolina at the time?
No, ma'am. Texas. Texas is my home.
Heaven and mom lived in South Carolina?
Yes.
Okay. Was that prior order, was it a CPS case?
It was, yes. My cousin had them 6 or 7 months before the judge ruled I get them.
Okay. Wow. Well, Mr. Sturman, it just sort of sounds like that the mom they didn't ask her. And so they didn't even click, that there was a presumed father.
Well, I mean, if you got a father listed here, but I understand presumed father, but I mean, you got a prior order that lists another man as a father.
Well, does it say, what does it say exactly about him?
It says South Carolina Department of Social Services plaintiff versus mother, and then this list of different fathers because there's 3 kids involved, and then Justin Smalls is listed. It says Justin Smalls has not been properly served, is not present nor represented today. The way that they write their orders is that they mention who testified to what, and it says Miss Gibson, mother, was not in agreement with CPS recommendation because she testified that Shiloh and Heaven do not have established relationships with their fathers. So the way that they're talking is that Justin Smalls is the father.
I'm sorry.
But it doesn't actually say that, he's ever been found to be the father or, anything like that.
Miss Cuevas, have you ever heard from this Bethay guy, the Smalls guy? Has anybody ever come forward and said they're or talked to you about paternity of heaven?
No, I don't. I've never seen him in person.
Okay. Bethay or Smalls?
Bethay, nor Smalls.
Okay.
I never saw neither one of those.
But just the way it's wrote, it's almost like there was like a prior finding or something, because, mother's last name in the order is Bethay.
Bethay.
And she's obviously married at this time.
You mean like there was some sort of order of non-paternity type thing?
Yes. That ruled out the presumed father or something.
I wonder if that would be in that cause. The order you have, is it the final order?
They call it an amended interim order, but I mean, it sounds to me, but it actually gives permanent physical and legal custody of heaven to Miss Cuevas.
Did Miss Cuevas give you that order?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
And Miss Cuevas, that's the order you've been operating under for years, right?
Yes, ma'am, for about 5 years, going on 6.
That's crazy.
Trying to hide from my dogs.
That's okay. I understand. We understand. Well, I would have, Ms. Sturmer, I wonder if South Carolina would send you prior orders in that case. Or actually, you know what? Let's just do the UCCJEA thing, and then the clerk's going to send us. The file anyway. Well, they don't usually.
No, they don't. It's not a transfer.
Yeah.
And usually they're really, really weird whenever an attorney calls from another state asking for information on a case.
Yeah. Why don't we do this? Why don't I have the UCCJEA case with the judge and tell the judge what the situation is and see if that judge could help maybe, or get his coordinator to help us.
To figure out the dad's situation?
Yeah. Okay.
I know the department is wanting to get moving on this case. The recommendation in the report was final in 45 days, but there's absolutely no way that's going to happen. So if we can just set another permanency hearing and give me some time to work on this.
Ms. Cuevas, how do you spell, how do you spell Bethay?
Bethea, right? Bethay, Beth.
Okay. And the other guy's name, what was his first name, ma'am?
Danny.
Danny. And
Danny Bethay.
Justin Smalls?
Right.
Smalls with it's like plural Smalls or small?
Smalls, or I think it's Smalls. They have it on the court paper. I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's okay.
I'm in my papers, so.
And Danny Bethea is the presumed. Miss Wheeler, I think you just hang tight till we figure this mess out. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll yeah. Okay. Today we were set for perm final. Let me get another Ms. Sturmer, when do you want me to set this?
Just set it in June, I guess.
Okay. You need anything else? You need anything, Mr. Sturmer?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Miss Wheeler, do you need anything?
No, Judge.
I understand. Miss Demetra Fuller, tell me, I read your report. Tell me what's up.
First of all, Heaven is a really sweet child. She's very intelligent. But she keeps getting into these incidents with other young children, whether it's at school. And the latest incident was at the home. I did talk to Miss Kelly Smith, to check to see if they scheduled a forensic investigator in order to find out exactly what happened at the home with several other girls and with Heaven. And it was nature. So I don't have the full report. I do have just quick experts from Miss Smith and what she relayed to me and what happened. I certainly can go ahead and tell everyone here. Is that all right?
No, we don't. No, we're on YouTube.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, as long as it's being looked into.
It is.
And I'm sure the department's on it, so that's
yes,
good.
ma'am.
Are you happy with the placement?
Yes, ma'am. I'm very happy with the placement. And they are doing really well with dealing with Heaven's outbursts and these incidents. And she is going to, of course, seeing the therapist there with group therapy and individual therapy, and it's several times a week. I definitely think that she needs a lot more therapy, a lot more help, for sure.
Is she going to school on campus or in the school district?
She's going in the school district, and actually she's doing really well in her classes. Again, her teachers just let us know how intelligent she really is. Unfortunately, that intelligence can get her into trouble with the teachers and with other students, but nothing so far has happened at the school. She's doing really well. She does love reading to the kindergartners. She's doing real well. She's going to choir practices every other weekend, and they really keep her busy and on schedule. And she's looks like she's lost some weight. She's looking really well, and that's good. But for the most, she is a very happy child, but I know that she misses her grandmother. She does miss seeing her sister, and would like to reunite with them, but I let her know that's up to her. She has to do the work and get herself up in the levels, because right now she's back down at the lowest level, and she needs to go up to the highest level in order to get back some of her privileges. So she understands that, and she's working on it.
Do you know what the name of the school she goes to is? 7th grade?
No, I'm sorry, in 6th grade. That was my typo. I apologize.
No, 5th grade.
5th grade?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I thought I was told she was in 6th grade.
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Again, my mistake, Your Honor.
That's okay.
Thank you, Ms. Quavez.
You're welcome.
My grandkids go in that school district, so I was just wondering if it was the same school. So that's not. Okay, Miss Mystic, what's up?
Yeah, so I Zoomed with Heaven, and she really wants to do visits in person with Grandma, but we are leaving that as therapist recommendations. And I explained to her that, I'm not a therapist, I'm her attorney, and that we'll have to go with what the place recommends. She was good with that. She wants somebody to send her some Nutella. So Grandma, if you can get Nutella.
Oh boy.
yeah. Anyway, and we're getting her some shorts, but she's okay. She likes it there. But because, as Dimitri said, she's very smart, and she can sometimes use that to her best interests. But she is sweet. So
too. So
yeah. But
last time I ordered visits for Grandma per Heaven's therapist, and that's kind of what we're working. Right.
Yeah, she just really wants them, and I explained we got to wait for therapist.
Well, I go down there about once a month to see my grand. So if y'all need me to deliver anything or whatever, I'm there. So I don't know where and this is, but it's easy enough to find.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Okay, well, I'm just going to say everything continue. I wrote in parentheses, got UCCJEA issues and issues with lots of issues with paternity. Prior orders remain in effect. We'll have a trial on 6/7/23 if we can get all this paternity stuff figured out by then. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Ms.
you.
Webb, thank you for all your help.
Yes. Thank you.
Wheeler will probably be contacting you at some time. She's appointed to represent the father situation, or at least the unknown. We probably will change that later to give her about 2 or 3 more clients, but we'll worry about that later.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Good reports. See y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.